Hi, Carrie. I appreciate you meeting with me today. What can I help you with?
I have a lot going on in my life right now. Um my mom just got diagnosed with cancer, and so that's been really hard. She's been in treatment, and my dad isn't coping very well, so I'm having to help out a lot, and then I'm still have my own family and my work and everything to take care of. So I'm just feeling like there's so much going on. I'm not coping very well either.
It would be very challenging for you.
Yeah, it's like I'm trying to be the best person I can be and being really strong for everybody. Um, but I don't want them to know that I can't handle it. I'm just trying to be like superwoman, but I'm feeling like I'm starting to crumble, like it's just too much.
So it's clear that you feel quite overwhelmed by this new diagnosis, um, and that your father's not coping very well.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm like worried about my mom because she's really sick from the chemo, and I'm worried that she's gonna die. And then I'm worried about my dad because like he's scared that she's gonna die, and he doesn't know how to cope with her being really sick. And on top of that, I have to then like go home and take care of my little kids and, take care of my husband, and then still try to manage my job. So it's like I have these like two worlds going on. Um, and it's just way too much.
That sounds very challenging, Carrie. What other types of emotions are you experiencing?
Well, I'm super scared because I can't imagine like if my mom dies, my dad is not going to be able to survive without her. Like, and then I feel like how is he going to manage without her? Like, she's his whole world. Um, so I'm scared about that. I'm also feeling really frustrated because it's like my sister's not doing anything. I'm having to do everything. Like, she'll maybe phone them like once a week, but she's not going over there to take care of them or like helping to make meals or driving them to appointments or making phone calls. Like, there's just so much to do, and I'm the only person doing it. So I'm feeling like kind of mad about, why is this happening? Why do I have to do everything?
So you feel frustrated, not having the proper support in place. Your sister is not helping as much as you would like her to, and you feel that all this is being put on your shoulders in this very dire time. It sounds very tragic, and it
Mm-hmm.
just sounds like you don't have the correct support system in place.
Mm-hmm. But I feel really like I don't know what I like. There's nothing I can do. I feel like I have to do all of these things simultaneously, and like I can't just not take care of my parents. I can't not take care of my kids. I can't just not go to work. Like, it just feels like I just have to keep going.
So on one hand, you have your life at home with your children, and then on the
Mhm.
other hand, you have your sick parents that you're having to take care of with no support from your sister.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it's almost like you're battling these two worlds, and you're feeling overwhelmed and you're feeling exhausted.
Totally. Yeah, that's exactly how I'm feeling. And I'm also like having like, like thoughts that make me feel really awful. Like, I'm like, well, if mom just dies, then at least I don't have to take care of her. And I like obviously I don't want her to die, but I'm just like I can't even think properly. Like, I'm so overwhelmed that I'm like, thinking of these crazy scenarios just to feel like, well, if she died, at least I'd get some relief. I wouldn't have to like watch her suffer, and I wouldn't have to be watch my dad suffer, and I wouldn't have to try to manage all. It would be like one less thing I'd have to take care of. which is awful.
Right.
I don't want that to happen, but it's like that's how overwhelmed I am, that I just feel like if she just died, then it would be easier. But it really wouldn't. It would be horrible.
Yeah. It's like it would be one less stress for you to take care of.
Yeah.
That sounds
Yeah.
very hard.
It's like irrational. It's like irrational thinking because I'm just so burnt out and so tired with trying to manage everything.
Hmm.
And then I feel really guilty because I'm like, that's horrible that I would even think that, you know?
Yeah. It sounds like you're not only mentally exhausted, but emotionally exhausted. And, when you're not getting that proper sleep or refueling your body, you can have those irrational thoughts. Do you think that might,
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
oh, did it cut out? Sorry. So it sounds like when you're mentally exhausted and you're emotionally exhausted, you can have these irrational thoughts um,
Yeah.
that you don't really mean, but they just come out just because you're so overwhelmed with everything.
Yeah. It's probably like, those are probably red flags. I should probably take that as being like a sign that it's like, okay, if I start thinking stuff like that, maybe I need to make some changes. Like I'm obviously not coping well if I'm having that kind of thinking, my thinking's not rational, that I need to do something. And I
Mhm.
think because I'm always been the daughter that's always taking care of everything, that I probably put too much pressure on myself, and I really should be, just being more assertive and, saying to my husband, like, you have to do this with the kids, or, saying to my boss at work, like, I need to have some time off, or saying to my sister, like, I need you to come and take care of everything. But I've always been the caretaker. So I feel like I want to keep doing that. Makes me feel like, it makes me feel valuable to be the caretaker.
Okay. So what I'm hearing is that you feel valuable being that caretaker. Um, that's always been your role, but you do bring up suggestions to be more assertive to those support units that might not be there for you.
Mhm.
You mentioned your husband, trying to divide the workload and maybe he can take care of the children and give you a break. And you
Mhm.
also mentioned your sister, just being more a part of that family dynamic. And those are very good suggestions.
Yeah, I think that I'm probably just not, like, I've got supports, but I'm just not reaching out to them. Like I'm just, I'm just like in this tunnel vision of just trying to do everything. It feels like it's almost easier to do everything than to like be vulnerable and ask for help.
So it's clear that it's hard for you to ask for help,
It's super hard. Yeah, I just want to be able to do everything.
right?
And like I'm a
And
perfectionist, I want it to be done like a certain way, and it's just easier if I do it myself because then it's done like the way that I want. So I probably need to like relinquish some of that control and just reach out to people that can help me.
I think that that's a very good suggestion, Carrie. I think that just reaching out to those people that are there for you to help, um, I think that will alleviate a lot of stress off your shoulders
Hmm.
immensely, and it'll help in the caring of your parents. They obviously need you, but they may need your sister as well.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, it's like if I don't get some help, then I'm not going to be well enough to take care of them. So um, I think I need to remember that's really helpful to talk to you and kind of like get all this sorted out in my head, where now I'm really realizing that if I don't get any help, then I'm probably going to get sick or have a breakdown, and then I'm not going to be able to do anything. And that would be horrible.
Yeah,
That would
it
be
just
horrible. So,
it sounds very challenging, your situation that you're in. I know that if I was in your shoes, I definitely would not be able to manage it as well as you are. And I feel that you taking that step, you know, deciding what support unit to kind of alleviate that stress, that being your work that you mentioned, your husband, as well as your sister. I think those are all great suggestions, and I think those would be great goals for you to work towards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could probably just maybe, I just had an idea that maybe if I just like wrote up a schedule
Yeah.
and like put people in the schedule and gave myself some breaks, that I could schedule in some break time for myself, and then I would really actually take the break instead of just keep going. So if I probably like made a schedule and then, checked in with my husband and sister and be like, does this work for you? Then that might be a really good way to do it, instead of just like having a breakdown in front of them and being like, oh my God, I need you to help, like being specific and saying, I need you to do this at this time.
Hmm. Yeah. And it sounds like you like to take the lead on those types of projects. And I think that having that assertive um, personality will very much help your goals and your situation in order for them to understand how you're emotionally thinking and
Hmm.
what you see in these next few weeks.
Hmm. I probably could, you know, like my parents have money, so I probably could, um, talk to them and see if we could like hire a nurse to come do some of the care some of the time. Like, I know I want to be the one that does all my mom's care, but there's it's just getting harder and harder to care for her. It might be really good to have a professional in there to be doing some of that work, that actually know what they're doing. So that's probably another thing I could do, and that would probably help both of them.
Yeah, that's a really great suggestion. I think
Mhm.
that you're definitely on the right track. And just talking to you, you've been able to really point out those strengths and those weaknesses. And
Mhm.
I think, just focusing on those strengths and those goals that you have for your family will really help in the long run.
Mhm. Yeah, it's really helpful to have you listening, and it's really helpful because I'm able to kind of sort it out in my mind a little
Mhm.
bit better. And it's hard to talk to my family about it because everybody's so emotional. It's really nice to talk to someone who's more neutral, and I'm really feeling like I feel like I have a better handle on how I'm going to manage it now.
Right. Well, that's really great to hear, Carrie. So in these next few weeks, I know that you are discussing these goals with me. What can you see yourself doing that's going to kind of bring you towards these goals?
I think that making the schedule would be really helpful, and just kind of like not giving my sister or my husband like options to not help, to just be like, I need you to do these things at this time. And I know that they'll want to help, it's just that they're also used to me just doing everything, so they just kind of step back and let me do my thing. And I appreciate that most of the time, but right now I definitely need to reach out and just like give them things that are like, there's too much on my plate, I need you to take this part of it. And I know that they'll be more than happy to do that, because they probably actually feel like they want to help, but I'm not letting them, maybe, I don't know.
And it sounds that you usually you take the lead and you do
Mhm.
everything. So maybe they're just feeling that that's just something that you do.
Mhm.
And that's why they're not asking for if you need any help or if you need anything done around anywhere.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I think you're right that everyone just kind of stands back and lets me do that because I'm really good at doing that. And they know that when I'm in control, I feel like it makes me feel safer. Like, when I have stuff to do, it makes me feel more comfortable than like I'm still uncomfortable knowing that I have to pass off some tasks to them, even though I know they're capable of doing it. So I think you're probably right about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that the schedule, I think that, you discussing your emotions, you know, like you mentioned before with work, seeing if they're able to work things around. It's just, I think in the long run, it will just really allow you to alleviate the stress, but also be able to take care of your parents in a not so overwhelming and stressful and frustrating way, where you are thinking those irrational thoughts.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, I think that those thoughts are definitely that kind of red flag that I need to make some changes before
Yeah.
I like have a complete breakdown.
Are you able to still cope yourself, Carrie?
For the most part, I'm okay. I just feel like I'm worrying, so I'm not sleeping very well because I'm like my mind's just spinning because I have so many things on my plate. So I'm not really getting enough rest, and not really, being able to get out and go to yoga and do the things that help calm my mind. So I need
Mhm.
to like make sure I have time for those things for sure. It's just that like I'm so tired I can't even think about taking care of myself. It's like just going from one thing to the next, just trying to get through the day.
That sounds very challenging. It's a very complicated situation that you're in, Carrie, and um, not being able to do the things that you used to love, such as you mentioned, yoga, and even being able to get the um, the good amount of sleep every single night. I think that if you look down that avenue, that'll help as well.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Hmm. Okay,
Hmm.
Carrie. Well, I would really appreciate if you kept my email and if you were to email me your goals and we can talk about how you're going to meet them. You can email me with any questions that you have, and just let me know how it goes. And I would really appreciate you getting in touch with me next week and we can kind
Hmm.
of go over how everything went with talking to those support units.
Okay, yeah, I think that that will be really helpful. Thank you. And so if I can, if I have to be held accountable for setting some goals and I have to check back in with you, it's probably more likely that I'll accomplish them. Um, yeah, I think that's a really good idea and that's really helpful.
Yeah, I exactly. I think that accomplishing those goals will help. And this whole therapeutic session that we've had today, you've really reached in, and you've really been able to tell me those goals that you have, and um, show me that that may help you in this situation of yours.
Yeah, it's been really helpful. Like I said, talking to somebody who's not like emotionally involved in the situation, just talking to somebody who's neutral and being able to just kind of sort out my thoughts out loud has been really helpful.
Well, I'm glad that that's been helpful for you. I feel um, I've kind of been through the same situation, and I've lost a few people in my life, and I think that you need to talk about that kind of stuff, and it can really affect your life. And I think that just being able to cope properly, get those emotions out, have those support units, will definitely help along the way.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. And like I said, just give me email next week at this time and we will discuss your goals. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Bye.